problem.
Keep your helmet, keep your license, just a flesh wound. Here's your rifle, crawling up the beaches now. Sir, I think he's bleeding out, and some things you just can't speak about. With your eyes, sir, with your rifle down, down. Watch you breathing, watch you breathing out, out. Something magical did not cover someone's daughter, someone's mother. Holds her hand the plastic note. Doc, I think she's crashing out, and some things you just can't speak about.
There has been no aftershocks as of now, but of course that is a dangerous concern.
Only 20 minutes to sleep, but you dream of some epiphany. Just one single glimpse of relief to make some sense of what you see. With your eyes, sir, with your rifle down, down. Watch you breathing, watch you breathing out, out. With your eyes, sir, with your rifle down, down. Just keep breathing, watch you breathing out, out. Only 20 minutes to sleep, but you dream of some epiphany. Just a single glimpse of relief to make some sense of what you see.
We do have more update on the on this earthquake. We do have more of an update on this earthquake, and that is it is a 7.6 megaquake according to the U.S. Geological Survey. It is definitely did some serious shaking in Mexico. 275 miles away from the epicenter, it was felt in Mexico City. People were running into the streets. I've seen that. Buildings were swaying. I've seen the videos on that. People thought that this was the big one, and they don't know. It is a big one, but it was 275 miles away from Mexico City. Near Colima, Mexico, Colima, Mexico is a city of 28,000 people. There is damage. We do not know the extent. We do not know any casualty reports as of now. It's way too early to know, as it's been just about an hour since this quake hit. We also know that there is, I repeat, a tsunami warning in effect. There is a tsunami. Question is, how big and where will it hit? The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center reports that if there is a tsunami threat to Hawaii, that the earliest estimate time that the hazard might begin is 3:19 p.m. 3:19 p.m. Hawaii time, or about 6 hours from now. Another report, though, is that the VIA Pacific Tsunami Warning Center says the tsunami wave is about 9 feet above the tide possible along some coast of Mexico. Tsunami waves less than that above tide possible on the coast of Colombia and Costa Rica, and actually several other nations. It was Colombia, Costa Rica, it was Ecuador, it was Panama, it was Peru. I'm trying to remember just how many it was off the top of my head right now. I don't see where I put that one. But several countries are potentially in a danger of about a 9, anywhere from, let's say, 4, 5 to 9 feet of a strong tsunami that would be along the Mexican border, along also in some of the countries in Central and South America, as I was just naming them, a few there for you. That we know. Now, as far as Hawaii is concerned, there's definitely concern. Now, there's nothing official other than there is a warning in effect for Hawaii. They are being notified that they have a warning. There's a tsunami out there. The tsunami is headed in their general vicinity. Will it hit Hawaii or not? It's unknown. How big would it be when it gets there is still unknown. The buoys are still being monitored, and the scientists are working on this right now very feverishly to find out exactly how to report this or what type of warning to give, other than there is a tsunami warning in effect for those parts of, for Hawaii. Okay, there's some people are saying there was 2 quakes. That there was a 7.5 and a 7.6. You know, sometimes I know that sometimes those, you know, because you have more. I'm just looking at the U.S. Geological Survey, but I do know that there's other earthquake monitoring websites or systems that monitor quakes. Sometimes it'll show 2, boom, boom, when it's actually still just 1. Okay, that happens a lot. I've seen them go boom, boom, and then later they'll go back and say, no, it was just really 1. Or it was the vibration of the quake made it look like there were 2, and that could make them look like they're 15 seconds apart or something like that. But at this point, the U.S. Geological Survey is still not saying that. And not that it isn't possible. Not that it isn't possible. They may come back later and tell us that there was a second earthquake within less than 30 seconds from the first one. We don't know. But they haven't showed us, there's been no update of earthquakes in the last hour anywhere in the world on the U.S. Geological Survey, which says to me that they've stopped posting for a moment as they're in the process of analyzing it. Now they're not, you know, because usually there would have been another quake somewhere in the world, at least over 4.0 somewhere in the world within an hour of each other. Usually there is. Sometimes there's not, but usually there is. And they're not showing any aftershocks yet. Not that there won't be. The danger here, and this is the exact fault line that runs along the Mexican border right on up to San Diego. This is the exact fault line that Mike from the World has been very concerned about. Actually, there was a 3.4 earthquake in Pinos, California, just before this one hit in Mexico. So it's right on the same fault line. So first the quake hit in Pinos, California, which is Southern California. It was a 3.4 earthquake right on that danger fault line that runs all the way down along the west coast of the United States, all the way up the west coast of Canada, all the way up even into Alaska, and all the way down through the Mexican, all the way down the entire border of Mexico. That's the exact spot where this big quake has hit. This is the one that Mike around the world's been talking about probably for the last 2 years repeatedly. Keeps talking about it. This is the quake that he said could happen. This is the fault line that could cause a quake that could cause the city of San Diego to raise up 45 degrees and flow into the ocean. This is that fault line. This isn't that quake, thank God. Let's hope it's not. What makes me nervous, though, is that it is a 3.4 earthquake that hit in Tres Pinos, California, and it hit there. And I'm just going to see how. Okay, and then this one hits here. Let me see how much time was in between them. Looks like 14 hours ago. So 14 hours ago, we had a 3.4 earthquake that hit Tres Pinos, California. And on the exact same fault line, 14 hours later, a mega 7.6 has hit Mexico. There is a tsunami. It's going to hit somewhere, probably along the Mexican coast. It's probably going to hit several other countries in Central and South America. How big is those tsunamis? Could be around 9-foot wave. How far are we from? And then, but this threat is also headed toward Hawaii. There is tsunami warnings in effect for Hawaii. The earliest that tsunami would get to Hawaii would be at 3:19 p.m. Hawaii time, which right now it's 3:19 p.m. Eastern time. That means it's exactly 6 hours from right now, that tsunami, if it's going to hit Hawaii, it would start coming ashore in Hawaii. Good news is, for those of you in Southern California and the coast of California and the coast of Canada, the tsunami is not going to affect the West Coast. Originally, there was concern immediately that could potentially Southern California could also have gotten hit with a tsunami, but that's not going to happen. The tsunami is not going to hit the West Coast of the United States or the West Coast of Canada. But Hawaii is in the path and is 6 hours from now. The wave would be coming, the first initial wave would be hitting Hawaii. How hard, how big, how effective, it's way too early to know. There's just a warning. The warning means a tsunami is approaching. A tsunami is coming. Doesn't mean that it's going to do a drastic any damage. May just barely glance. The bulk of it may go right on by. We may find out there's other island nations that are actually going to be in greater danger than Hawaii. But certainly, we're watching this very closely because and the information is flowing in right now very carefully. At first, they jumped out and they let us know how big and where it was at, near Colima, Mexico. They say there is damage, but now they're not reporting any casualty reports. They're withholding all that information now. And it is early. It's just been a little over an hour. It is early, but still, they're going to be very selective with the information. Is typically what happens, and that's okay. They're going to be a little bit more cautious now, not to create a panic. Yes, they know there's been a big quake, okay, and they know there's a tsunami out there, and they know that hopefully it will not hurt Hawaii. We're still waiting for more updates on that. Now, we have another report just now coming in. This one has just been released. And now they're saying no tsunami threat to Hawaii, which would be beautiful if that's true. No tsunami threat to Hawaii. That'd be wonderful. let's triple check who's saying that, though. What agency? This major earthquake that struck the Pacific coast of Mexico, but it's still too early to tell if it posed a threat to Hawaii. So now it's still saying it's too early to say. So that's still the report everywhere else. Too early to say, but there is a tsunami warning that's been announced by NOAA, and the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center has put out a warning, tsunami warning, in effect for the residents of Hawaii. They've even said that the tsunami threat to the island, the earliest time that the hazard would hit would be 3:19 p.m. Hawaii time. But that doesn't mean that's the only time that the waves would hit. You know, when you're dealing with a tsunami, you're dealing with multiple waves. And because it's a reverberation, there are no immediate reports of damage from this earthquake, but it is still too early to report. There is reports, though, of some damage, and some reports that there is damage, but no casualty reports as of now. Hopefully somehow we can dodge everything. Maybe we can dodge the tsunamis. Maybe the damage is minimal. Maybe we don't. I always look for the positive here, that it's possible that maybe we can escape this. This is a mega quake of 7.6 and very shallow at 15.1 kilometers. And like I said, there's been no update at the U.S. Geological Survey. At first they said it was a 7.5 earthquake. Then they upgraded it to 7.6, and then it was 15.1 kilometers deep. And since then, there's been no update to any earthquake activity anywhere in the world of a quake over 4.0. I'm going to be right back. We'll get another song. I'll be right back. We'll continue to search and see if we have any more information on this. But pray, because this is very, very interesting what's taking place here. I see geese flying high above the water, a child fishing with his father in the rain. I can smell blackberry brandy and chocolate-covered candy. I see a soldier crying on a train, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long, as I dream with weary wonder, leaving earth before the dawn. I walk the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. I feel the deepness of his weakness. I can taste the brandy sweetness at a roadside Idaho cafe. I can hear old Teddy laughing, Fitzgerald's toes a-tapping to the roaring sounds of yesterday, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long, as I dream with weary wonder, leaving earth before the dawn. I walk the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long, as I dream with weary wonder, leaving earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And a shotgun blast echoed across the page, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. We do have some updates on this major earthquake, a mega quake of 7.6. This is, of course, Feast of Trumpets is going to be this coming Sunday. And so if you're sending in your Feast of Trumpets offering, send it the best you have. Give what the Lord tells you to give. It's a free will offering. And send it with your prayer request. And we will take those prayer requests with us. We're going to pray over them, but we will take them with us to Israel, to the wall for prayer there in Jerusalem in February of 2023. We do this, and boy, we look forward to taking all of these special prayer requests with us to Jerusalem. You can give your Feast of Trumpets offering 4 different ways. You can text give. That number is 765. You just text the word give to 765-327-4200. That's 765-327-4200. Or you can, hang on just a second here. Heidi is calling. Hang on one moment. Heidi, you're on the air live. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, darling.
Good.
I was just trying to play phone tag with you, but that's okay.
You're playing phone tag with me?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know about the earthquake in Mexico?
No, I didn't hear about
Yeah,
it. What happened?
7.6.
Oh, no.
Yeah, magnitude, very shallow. And there is a tsunami warning in effect for Hawaii, but also for the coast of Mexico and several other countries, Colombia, Costa Rica, Panama, Peru, Ecuador, Nicaragua, all the way down. Now the good news, the good news is they don't know how big the tsunami is, and they have 6 hours before it would get to Hawaii. That will give them some time to figure out how big it is and prepare.
Wow.
But right now it looks like 9 feet.
Wow, that just keeps happening, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
Taiwan and now over here. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a 7.0 not long ago near the Loyalty Islands. Then Taiwan, like you said, 6.6.
Yeah, I know Wages World was talking about it too. Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. Well, Taiwan, I haven't heard this. He's probably on it though. He's good.
I'd say he probably is on it. I was able to break it within the first 13 minutes or so after it hit, but it just happened to be a stroke of the Lord, I guess. That's all I know. It's happened to glance, and there it was.
All right. Well, you take care of business. I'm taking care of your mama. So.
All right. Take care of my mama, and then I'm going to be headed to the airport.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you later, darling. See you later.
Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So, yeah, she hadn't heard, and very, very strong, very powerful earthquake. And so let's take a look at this. Here's the latest information just come in. We did get some more info, and so let me share that with you. This is coming out of Yakima. A report says that a strong earthquake shakes Mexico at 7.6 on the Richter scale. Very shallow quake shook Mexico's central Pacific coast, setting off seismic alarms and rattling the capital of Mexico City on the anniversary of 2 earlier devastating quakes that had happened a few years ago. There's no immediate reports of the significant damage from the quake. We do know that some foundations have been cracked, some buildings have been damaged, but near Colima. But the quake was centered 37 kilometers or 23 miles southeast of Aquila, near the boundary of Colima and Micachoan, at a depth of 9.4 miles or 15.1 kilometers, 9.4 miles deep, very shallow for a 7.6 earthquake. Also, also there's some damage in a smaller town called Colacomun, Mexico. Mexico's National Civil Defense Agency said that the Navy's Tsunami Center had not issued an alert because due to the epicenter's location, no variation in sea levels was expected, they said. However, contradicting that was an alert by the U.S. Tsunami Warning Center. It said that there was a hazardous tsunami waves very possible for the coast of Hawaii, and that it would arrive at 3:19 p.m. local time, Hawaii time. Then they said, they also said that there's hazardous tsunami waves very possible for all along the coast, 186 miles from the epicenter. Mexico City Mayor Claudia Sheinbaum tweeted that there was no reports of any damage in her city, though buildings were swaying and people were running into the streets. Alarms were going off, for the new quake came less than an hour after a quake alarms had already hit the nation, because they did a earthquake simulation. They actually did a earthquake simulation drill 1 hour before this quake hit, in remembrance of two deadly quakes that had already hit Mexico on this exact same day of September 19th. It was September 19th, 1995 and September 19th, 2017, where two different deadly quakes had hit. On the anniversary of those two quakes, they have a 7.6 earthquake again on the same date, September 19th, this time 2022. There was also, it said they heard alarms were sounded far away, and spotlights, some of the lights had gone out. There was massive traffic problems because you can imagine it shook the roads, it shook the cars in the roads. And so this is where we're at on this powerful earthquake. There's a report coming out of Hawaii that this powerful earthquake strikes Mexico, and still unknown how big a tsunami threat it is to Hawaii. But that if the earliest that the hazard would come is 3:19 p.m. Hawaii time. So that seems to be the consistency of that report, is that there is a tsunami warning in effect for Hawaii. It is a little more than, it's about 6 hours from now, a little less than 6 hours from now. I don't know how big it would be. I don't feel like it's going to be large, but I don't want to give that impression and then be totally wrong. And I also don't want to give the impression it's going to be massive and have total chaos. I think what the U.S. Geological Survey is doing is analyzing the buoys very, very intensely, but going ahead and starting with the caution, but watching to see so they can get a handle on what the size of this tsunami is. They're also got to be watching all along the coast of Mexico and all the the central and southern Americas for any kind of serious impact. Now, like I said, 14 hours ago, on the same exact fault line that runs from Mexico all the way up along the Mexican coast, all the way up into Southern California, the fault line that Mike from the World has been very, very concerned about. 14 hours before this Mexico earthquake, there was a 3.4 earthquake that hit Tres Pinos, California. It was very shallow. It was only 8 kilometers deep, so they felt it. That happened at 14 hours ago, okay, before this quake. Then there was a 4.5 earthquake in the Philippines, followed by a 4.4 in Russia, followed by a 4.9 in Colombia. Then there was a 4.7 in Portugal, a 3.6 in Petersville, Alaska, a 3.2 in the national park in Alaska, a 4.2 in Guatemala, which is on the same fault line. And that one was 8 hours ago. And then there was a 4.6 in Chile, a 4.5 in the Philippines, a 4.7 in India, a 4.5 in Portugal, a 5.8 in the Mid-Indian Ridge, a 5.6 in the Mid-Indian Ridge, and then the 7.6 megaquake in Aquila, Mexico, 7.6 in Aquila, Mexico, only 15.1 kilometers deep or 9.4 miles deep. And then for over an hour, the U.S. Geological Survey has not given us another report of another earthquake anywhere in the world of significance. So that means they are busy studying this quake. They don't show any aftershocks, nothing. They're just concerned with the tsunami. They're trying to get that right. And that is very odd that you could have a 7.6 earthquake and then nothing for over an hour anywhere in the world of earthquake over 4.0. Very odd, which makes me feel like there probably has been, but they haven't been reported. And it sounds like these guys are absolutely consumed with trying to track the tsunami progress to get a handle on what that means as far as a tsunami is concerned. We have reports that the U.S., the United States Tsunami Warning Center said there was a risk of a tsunami near the coast of Michoacan, Mexico. Then the report came in that the specific Tsunami Warning Center reports that if there is a tsunami threat to Hawaii, the earliest estimated time for the hazard might begin at 3:19 p.m. Hawaii time today on September 19th. The next report update we got was this, that via Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said the tsunami waves of 9 feet above tide possible along some coast of Mexico, with tsunami waves less than above the tide possible on the coast of Colombia, Costa Rica, and a bunch of other nations that I didn't list them all. Then we have a report that came in that a powerful earthquake has struck Mexico, but it's still too early to determine whether there is a possible tsunami threat to Hawaii. Yet the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said that this 7.6 magnitude quake had hit. Okay, so we have conflicting reports, but also some consistency that this thing was at least a 7.6, and that's quite large. I mean, that's a mega quake. Our prayers are going up to everybody in Mexico and everybody in Central and South America along the coastal areas that could receive damage from a tsunami. Also, we're praying for Hawaii and any other islands that's out there in the Pacific Ocean that may be in the path of some type of tsunami waves or rogue waves. And this will take some time because it won't get there for 6 hours. We're also praying for many of you out there that, of course, are saying, wow, as Heidi said, she was on the phone with us earlier, this is serious situation, how just Taiwan was hit Saturday with a 6.6 earthquake, 6 miles deep. And then Sunday, Taiwan was hit with a 7.0 earthquake, 6 miles deep. And now today, Mexico hit with a 7.6 megaquake, and it's 9 miles deep. Okay? So someone is saying that there may be a 5.1 earthquake may have hit in Mexico, but that's not being reported on the U.S. Geological Survey. But that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. Some of these other geological groups that measure magnitude of earthquakes may already be reporting that there have been other earthquakes, yet the U.S. Geological Survey is not moved. They first said it was a 7.5 earthquake, and the U.S. Geological first set. Sorry if you hear me slurring or tired. I'm sorry. You know, I sometimes have a problem, you know, dealing with being able to regurgitate information